Hi Zati, good morning. Can you explain clearly the fact and legal implication that arise from the cases of Hyde v. Range 1840 on the law of contract? Hi Kumar, good morning. Sure, of course. So, let's start with the introduction. Introduction. The contract is defined as an agreement which was enforceable by law. Based on the law book, the legalization that governs contract in Malaysia was the Contract Act 1950. There are 7 elements in the law of contracts. One of the famous cases under the Contract Act 1950 is Hyde v. Range. In this case, Hyde is known as the plaintiff and Range is as defendant. There are 7 elements in the law of contract. So, let's check what is 7 elements in the law of contract that we know. Offer. An offer is a proposal by one party to another to enter into legally binding agreement with another party. In this case, Mr. Range offered to sell his farm for £1,200 to Mr. Hyde. Then, 6 June 1840, Mr. Range wrote later that he offered another discounted price about £1,000 and this would be his best and final offer. By 8 June, Mr. Hyde offered £950 in his letter. Once Mr. Range refused to accept the offer, Mr. Hyde agreed to buy the farm for £1,000 without any additional agreement. However, the initial offer is no longer available to be accepted. Acceptance of offer. Acceptance occurs when a buyer decides to bind and enter into an agreement for consideration or something as valuable as money. Based on this case, once Mr. Range refused to accept the £950 offer, Mr. Hyde agreed to buy the farm for £1,000 without any additional agreement. Unlocking every request offered, this will be different and destroy the original offer. Hence, there is no acceptance for the offer. Intention to create legal relation. The intention is to create a legal relation defined as the intention to complete a legally binding contract or contract. Plaintiff Mr. Hyde have taken action on the matter alleging that Mr. Range rejected his offer to sell the farm for breach of contract. The problem in this case is whether there is a valid agreement between the parties and if the feedback has been made in the discussion, is the original offer still open. Hence, there will be legal relation if both parties accept the offer. Consideration. Consideration is value exchange between the people in contract. If there is no consideration, the contract cannot do or can be cancelled with reduced from exception. In this case, the court rejected claim from Mr. Hyde against Mr. Range that there no contract between Mr. Hyde and Mr. Range to sell the farm. It has been to tell that when a counter offer is made, it will change and cancel the original offer. So, the original offer is no longer when Mr. Hyde offered £950, he cancelled the £1,000 offer before that and was unable to follow and accept the offer made by Mr. Range, and immediately the offer made by Mr. Range was cancelled. Certainty. In the Malaysian law, Section 30 of Malaysian Contract Act 1950 gives that understanding, the significance of which is not sure or equipped for being made sure, are void. The court excused the case and expressed that there was no agreement of land between Mr. Hyde and Mr. Range. This is because in the law contract, there has certainty, which is the offer must be clear, complete, detailed, and in order to avoid any doubt. In this case, Mr. Range had no final decision on whether he wanted to sell his farm and Mr. Hyde rejected the offer and then he agreed to buy it again while the contract had cancelled. Capacity. Capacity known as each individual is able to contract, which is the normal individual who enters a contract with full legitimate ability to be held responsibility regarding the obligation he or she agrees to intend to perform unless if the individual is a minor, intellectual, disabled, or intoxicated. Based on the case, height and range are the individual with the relevant capacity enter into a contractual transaction. Both of them create a contract and there are fully understand its terms and obligations. There is no valid binding contract exists between height and range to purchase the property. Contract parties must always be entitled to do what the contract promised. Freedom to contract. Freedom of contract is in reality only a formal equality giving rise to unjustifiable domination or unequal exchange. On the contrary, modern contract law reflects the value of continuity and justification. Furthermore, the freedom of contract gives an individual the liberty to choose whether or not to enter into a contract. The party to contract with the term of the contract, the idea leading to freedom of contract were considered in Hyde v. Range. In this case, Hyde v. Range is a leading English contract law case on the issue of counter offer and their relation to initial offers. This is chronology cases. 6 June 1840. Secondly, 11 June 1840. Thirdly, 26 June 1840. Fourthly, 27 June 1840. Fifthly, 29 June 1840. And lastly, 8 December 1840. So the conclusion is, from the cases of Hyde v. Range, it can be concluded that their cases are involving with counter-offer terms. Counter-offer was an offer was made from the previous offer by other parties during the negotiation for final contract. When the counter-offer was being made, it automatically would reject the prior offer and require the acceptance under terms or counter-offer or when there is no contract. Counter-offer, including the explanation of the terms of the offer or request for supplementary information, and for finalize the counter-offer, it would require buyer and offer to accept the terms without any additional condition or modifications. Counter-offer was generally conditional.